heard a comeback story so wild it sounds completely made up? Well, today we're diving into one of the greatest of all time. It's the story of Joseph, a guy who went from the absolute bottom, a prison cell, to the very top of ancient Egypt. So the big question is, how on earth does a forgotten prisoner become the second most powerful person in the known world? I mean, think about that. It's a journey that just feels impossible, right? It's packed with injustice, some incredible insight, and a seriously brilliant strategy. So where do we even begin? Well, it all starts in the darkest place imaginable. Okay, so let's set the scene. Joseph is at rock bottom. I mean, absolute zero. He's been thrown in a dungeon in Egypt for a crime he didn't commit. He's totally alone, forgotten by everyone. But here's the crazy part. It's right here in this hopeless place that the seeds for his incredible future start to grow. So in this prison, Joseph isn't alone. He ends up with two of Pharaoh's top guys, the royal cupbearer and the baker, who've somehow gotten on the king's bad side. And both of them are having these really disturbing dreams, and they have no idea what they mean. So Joseph, this prisoner, steps up, he listens, and then he just nails the interpretations. He tells the cupbearer, hey, you're going to get your job back. And to the baker, well, not such good news. He tells him he's going to be executed. And sure enough, just 3 days later, it all happens exactly like he said. Now, you think the cupbearer would be grateful, right? Joseph asks him, hey, when you get out, just remember me. But he doesn't. He completely forgets. And for 2 full years, Joseph just sits there, rotting in that prison. Think about it. He was sold into slavery at 17, and now he's pushing 30, still waiting for his break. So while Joseph is languishing in that dungeon, something big is starting to happen up in the palace. A crisis is brewing, one that's about to shake the whole kingdom to its core. The Pharaoh himself starts having these really bizarre, troubling dreams. So get this. In the first dream, Pharaoh sees 7 fat, healthy cows just chilling by the Nile River, a picture of prosperity. But then, out of nowhere, 7 ugly, skinny, skeletal-looking cows come up, and they eat the fat cows. It's just a weird, unsettling, totally unnatural image. And it doesn't stop there. He has another dream, almost the same theme. 7 healthy, plump ears of grain, and then 7 thin, withered ears of grain come along and swallow them whole. Pharaoh wakes up, and he knows this isn't just a bad pizza dream. This is an urgent message. He calls in all his magicians, all his wise men, and nothing. Nobody has a clue what it means. And now the whole court is in a panic. It's right then, in the middle of all this chaos, that a light bulb goes off for the cupbearer. He's like, wait a minute, I know a guy. He finally remembers the Hebrew prisoner from 2 years ago. And just like that, guards are sent to the dungeon, Joseph is pulled out, cleaned up, and rushed into the presence of the most powerful man on earth. So imagine this moment. You're a prisoner 1 minute, and the next you're standing in front of the king. But Joseph isn't fazed. He stands there with this amazing mix of humility and confidence. And the first thing he says is, look, it's not me, but God will give you the answer you're looking for. And then he lays it all out. He says, Pharaoh, these 2 dreams, they're actually the same message from God. And here's the deal. Part 1, you're about to have 7 years of incredible prosperity. I mean, harvests like you've never seen. But, and this is a big but, Part 2 is that those 7 years will be followed by 7 years of a horrible famine. A famine so bad, it will completely wipe out the memory of all that abundance. Now this is what makes Joseph a genius. He doesn't just interpret the dream and say, good luck with that. No, he gives Pharaoh a complete strategic solution. He says, here's what you need to do. Find a wise and discerning man, put him in charge, and during those 7 good years, you need to collect and store 1/5 of all the grain. He didn't just deliver the bad news, he delivered the rescue plan. And that is what changes everything. Pharaoh is just floored, blown away. It's not just that the interpretation feels right. It's the sheer brilliance of the solution, the clarity of the plan. And he's got this massive decision to make. But you know what? He doesn't hesitate. He makes it right then and there. He looks around at all his officials, his so-called wise men, and he asks them, can we find anyone else like this? A man who has the Spirit of God in him? And of course the answer is no. He realizes in that instant that the perfect person for the job, the only person who can save Egypt, is standing right there in front of him, the prisoner. And boom, just like that, Joseph's entire life changes.
in a single moment. Pharaoh doesn't just set him free, he elevates him. He hands over the official symbols of power and makes him the second most powerful man in the entire country.
And he seals the deal with 3 specific gifts, and each one is a huge deal. They show just how complete this transformation is, from a foreign slave to the prime minister of Egypt. First up, Pharaoh takes off his own signet ring and puts it on Joseph's finger. Now, this is way more than just a piece of jewelry. This ring was like Pharaoh's signature, his stamp of approval. Anything Joseph signed with that ring had the full force of law, as if Pharaoh had done it himself. It was ultimate authority. Next, they take off his prison rags and clothe him in robes of fine linen. I mean, this is the ancient equivalent of a designer suit. It was a visible sign to everyone that this was no longer a prisoner. This was a man of high status, of wisdom, and power.
And the final piece of the puzzle is brilliant. Pharaoh arranges for Joseph to marry a woman named Asenath. But she wasn't just anyone. She was the daughter of the priest of On. On was the headquarters for the worship of the sun god, Ra, basically the religious center of the empire. This marriage was a political masterstroke. It instantly integrated Joseph, a foreigner, into the very heart of Egypt's religious and political power structure. It gave him legitimacy that he couldn't have gotten any other way. So now Joseph has the power, and he doesn't waste a second. He gets right to work. For the next 7 years, during that time of incredible abundance, he travels all over Egypt, organizing the collection and storage of massive amounts of grain. He's building up reserves, preparing for the disaster he knows is coming. And in doing so, he's not just setting up to save Egypt, but the whole world around them.
When you look at the timeline, it really hits you. He was just a kid, 17, when he was sold into slavery. He becomes prime minister at 30. That's 13 years. 13 years of his life spent as a slave, being falsely accused, and sitting in a dungeon. His entire youth, gone. And during this time, before the famine hits, Joseph has 2 sons, and the names he gives them tell you everything about his mindset. His first son he names Manasseh, which means something like, God has made me forget my trouble. Then he names his second son Ephraim, meaning, God has made me fruitful in the land of my suffering. You see what he's doing? He's not dwelling on the past. He's choosing to focus on the good that has come out of all that pain. And that really leaves us with something to think about, doesn't it? Joseph's story proves that 13 years of what looked like wasted time and pointless suffering, well, that became the very foundation that saved nations. It really makes you wonder, right? What are the difficulties we're going through in our own lives right now that feel just pointless? Could they somehow be the setup for something amazing and unexpected down the road?